Akira Toriyama was a legendary writer and illustrator for Dragon Ball, on later Dragon Ball Z, eventually Dragon Ball Super. As during the decades of him writing and drawing, there were many known and unknown circumstances as well as situations that created or shaped and even changed his perceptions of being one of the greatest men to have ever been affiliated with Japanese manga. But the speculative scenario is this: how did Toyotaro become Akira Toriyama's successor? Supposedly, when Dragon Ball was originally released in the late 1980s, it was a slow and steady rise of a manga and later Japanimation. It wasn't a groundbreaking piece of work that it is now considered to be. Originally much more comedic and carefree, it wasn't as serious or determined as later installments or depictions of it were known for. Wanting to display a fantasy aspect of manga, the very premise, overall story, in particular artwork, soon became known throughout Japan. As Dragon Ball progressed into Dragon Ball Z, Akira Toriyama became more and more renowned, respected in Japan. Unconfirmed sources mention that he became identifiable and was often stopped in public by fans and those inspired by his work. At first, he was pleased with the reception from fans, but eventually it took a mental toll on his health, and he became known for being a recluse due to the unwanted attention that the Dragon Ball media created. Through events, Toyotaro became affiliated with Akira Toriyama, and Toyotaro was an individual who respected and acknowledged Akira Toriyama's work on Legacy 4 manga, as the pair became close collaborators, and as Akira Toriyama's health began to decline, his dependence on Toyotaro began to become apparent, and through further situations he was designated by Akira Toriyama as his heir to continue the Dragon Ball work if anything should happen to him. Soon after such a proclamation, Toyotaro dismissed the claims of legacy by Akira Toriyama, but the pressures and demands of modern manga and anime in Japan became too much for Akira Toriyama, with Toyotaro hesitantly accepting the mantle of main force behind Dragon Ball Super in terms of writing as well as artistry. After the designation of Toyotaro by Akira Toriyama and his sudden passing, the focus of attention at the time was if Toyotaro was a worthy heir to the iconic Dragon Ball franchise. There were divided opinions, at which the whole premise of giving the mantle from a creator to a successor was the first real example in modern Japanese manga of such a situation occurring, and as a result, everything in terms of Dragon Ball was later re-evaluated.